Hey everyone, it's Sarah here and happy Wednesday. How is everybody doing? I hope you're staying safe and feeling well, you and your loved ones, and your team and your clients. Today I want to share with you a thought that occurred to me when I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day. And it was such a beautiful conversation when we kind of went back and thought about our journeys and we thought about our evolutions and we really embraced all the changes. And then we were kind of laughing at all the times we try to force the change to stop, when we try to force our way back into the old habits, old ways of doing things, old way of thinking, old services. Because one of the experiences that I have personally have is when in a transition from the old space to the new space, there's this, when you're up in the air and you're leaping, it almost seems like there's a vacuum. When, in your mind and in your body and your soul, that you already are going towards that new level, but the reality is still catching up. And it can be terrifying and it can be scary. And I remember a couple of times throughout all those leaps, right? I would try to go back to my intellectual part and go, this is what I used to do. This is how I used to force it. This is how I opened my phone book and went through the things. This is how I solved this problem. Let me try and do whatever it used to work. And I got it served on a silver platter from the universe, time after time again, a reminder that no, that chapter is closed. The toolbox is no longer available, or the size of the tool no longer fits whatever example I'm trying to come up with right now. So what I want to invite you into is that as we go through our life and as we all are growing and evolving, especially right now, if you're looking around, everything is changing, everything is shifting, and it's just up on us whether or not we embrace it or we try to fight it. And the more we try to fight it, the more brutal is it going to be. It's going to be painful, it's going to be miserable, and signs that we are in the disconnect are going to start showing up in many different ways, including illnesses. Our body showing us that out of the alignment, kind of waving the red flags and flashlights and stuff like that, right? Embracing the change and embracing those vacuums and trusting the process, on the other hand, it does require self-mastery, and it does require this ability to drop into the space of stillness and be present in every single moment. And as somebody who's a high achiever, I know this was one of the more difficult practices I had to learn. And I would still find myself anxious and try to go back to the old proven ways. So how does that all look like in practicality? So I had a conversation with somebody who has been trailblazer in their field. They have been doing and being in their line of work for the past 30 plus years. And of course, over the 30 years, things have changed, how they're able to serve their clients, how they're able to show up. The principles of their work remain the same, but throughout all of those years, they have evolved greatly. And we were talking about how right now, they made a comment. We were talking about, how they're showing up and they're serving, and they have issues with Facebook ads at the moment. I don't know if anybody else is having issues. I don't run Facebook ads, so I would not know. But apparently they're frozen, they're getting denied because there's not enough staff on the Facebook end to review and to approve everything. So my question for the person was like, okay, what else can you do? And the first thing out of their mind was, everybody's so scared right now. And then they paused. I was like, well, what do you think? Is this true or isn't? And I could see the little light coming up. And I said, no, this is a total made up story. And it's It's the old story, and it was the old approach of how they used to go out there. They would play on people's fears in order to capitalize that, and they would sell the way out of their misery as a way of packaging up their services. And as we were discussing further, like, yeah, it's so interesting because they tried this old tested way a couple of times in the recent months, and it did not work. It backfired on them tremendously. And the self-awareness that this particular person had, they were able to realize that, you know what, one was when they were creating those offers and opportunities and reach out campaigns, they did not feel good. They felt forced. So they had to learn that there's a different way. They had to accept the fact that there's a different way. But the disconnect between where they were going and what they knew was available was theirs. Can I really do this? But how do I do that? Am I really good enough for it? And it scares me. To which, when we were talking, it was almost like holding the mirror, because I barely did any talking. It was just me holding space and giving them the look. And the person then realized, you know what? This is exactly it. I need to lean into it and I need to embrace it. It is scary because it's calling for me to step up and step forward and do something I haven't done before, because everything else that I have done before, yes, it is familiar, but it no longer works. So with that in mind, I want to invite you to start focusing on your own bigger game and the next level of service for yourself and next level of leadership for yourself. And what does the next level of your intentional living get to look like and get to feel like? And really, really, really tap into it and focus on it, because there's always going to be different ways. There's always going to be other opportunities. There's always going to be something that somebody else is doing seemingly so successful that it's almost like, again, fear of missing out, throwing, like my dog's running after squirrels outside. No offense, but that's exactly what we get to do to ourselves when we lose that focus, when we lose that faith, and when we lose this connection to the bigger vision. It is so easy to start chasing on, I'm not just talking about somebody who's just getting started and you have to test different things. But I'm seeing that the most is at the level when somebody has already created incredible amounts of success and they want to scale. And they are trying to adopt all those different strategies and tactics and expand their business models in so many different ways that it's way too complex. And at the end of the day, it's like a Frankenstein of all the strategies and tactics, and it just doesn't work because of their subconscious fear of missing out. They try to be everywhere for everybody, and it doesn't work. And that is just the business part, right? When we're talking about leadership, it's the same way. You can't be everything to everybody, no matter how hard you try. And there's going to be points of tension. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be times when you're going to say, I don't have the answers. I don't know how to do it. And you'll have to be okay with not knowing. And instead of being afraid of being judged, strength lies in your authenticity and ability to ask for questions and ability to ask for help, and including for your team. They're in the front lines. They know. They have the intelligence that you most likely don't. They can offer different perspective and different perception so that you can piece a bigger picture, right? But then if you're afraid that you're going to be missing things out, don't have the capacity to receive all of that feedback and all of that information. And you are trying to spread yourself way too thin. It's almost like trying to sit on 5 different chairs at the same time. You're going to fall through. And at the end, you're going to be on either one of them. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you right now is because I have been witnessing for many years now. And it pains me to say that because I do deep down inside want to give everybody a benefit of the doubt. I do want to trust that they are doing the best that they can possibly do in every single moment. But there has been there have been numerous people out there who literally are taking advantage of those who don't know any better. They are taking advantage of those who put all their trust and all their funds into their programs. And those people who know that what they teach is nowhere near to what they actually live. And it's not the walk that they actually walk, it's just the talk. One of the examples would be, for example, you're saying, no, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. But that what you're saying and selling that doesn't work is exactly what you've been utilizing to get yourself to that point, right? And it's really disregarding the fact that it's not just one thing that people need. The foundation, the chair needs 4 legs. You can't build everything on this one particular leg. But that is the illusion that they are selling. And a lot of people are finding themselves on the wobbly foundation, incomplete foundation, tipping over and losing faith in themselves. And when you lose faith in yourself, what happens? You're playing even smaller. And when something scares you, you're contracting even more because you don't have that inner strength to trust yourself, because you have been burned and you have been told along the way that every mistake that you have made is on you. That every difficult question that you may have posed in those programs that you invested in, you're now being a difficult client and they're going to kick you out, right? So I know this is a very different from where we just started this conversation a few minutes ago, but all of this is evolving and is so deeply intertwined in each and every one of ours ability to not stay in our lane per se, because the lane keeps moving and expanding as we grow and evolve, but really serve at the highest level at the best interest of our clients. So with that said, I really invite you to take a look into your own business and ask yourself, is the vision that you're holding for yourself still this big vision of expansion? Or are you succumbing to the collective fear and pressure and narrative of uncertainty, where you're contracting now, trying to confront yourself in boxes of somebody else's expectations? Because if so, I do invite you and I urge you to get out of those boxes and get out of this space of contraction and go back to the expansion. I invite you to trust your inner guidance, and if you don't, then you have to do a lot more work to come to the point where you can trust your inner guidance and you're able to distinguish between the inner innate truth versus what your mind is telling you. 2 very different things. And then be able to continuously forge that path towards your bigger vision without the fear of having to run into 15 different directions because you're afraid that you'll be missing out, especially in this current situation right now when yes, you know what, there is uncertainty out there. Nothing is promised. But it's not just in this current reality with coronavirus. Nothing is promised on any other day. Life is uncertain on any other day, in any other time. But the point of that is that we are not bombarded about it so much, so we kind of disconnect from it. We don't think about it, and that's what I'm inviting you to do. You don't buy into the narrative of fear and scarcity and lack that is being sold to us and offered to us right now. And again, focus on your bigger vision, focus on your highest level of service, focus on your inner knowing and soul's calling and heart's calling. And that in itself is going to allow you to really, 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 really elevate yourself up way above the crowds and way above the noise. And you'll be able to experience such a profound difference in the way how calm you are and how you're able to show up and how you're able to serve others. So I do hope that this to some degree in any way resonates with you, that you found in this video exactly what you were looking for. And if you have questions, please do reach out. whether you're looking for resources, for feedback, to brainstorm, tag me in your comment, reach out to me privately, and we'll go from there. Thank you.